Okay, I guess we're on. Hi everyone, my name's Jem. Thanks guys. Yeah, okay. Guess I should have expected that. Cool. Well, today I'm going to be carrying on with a prototype we've been working on, which I'm calling Circuit City. I streamed this a couple of weeks ago, I guess, and yeah, it's kind of a work in progress involving hacking and information gathering and all sorts of things like that. So the gist is this: you have this kind of camera view here. You're somebody looking through a camera, and you can look around an environment, and you have to jump to other cameras by pointing at them and clicking. Some, like this one, are locked to a sort of sequence, a movement sequence, and others you can control. Yeah, and the idea is to sort of be voyeuristic and jump around a city watching people and gathering information and performing jobs for people. So I can sort of jump around like this, look around. I can hack people's devices, so I can point at a phone, click, and I get this little dialogue that I can kind of open up and steal stuff from or find information about the person. So yeah, I'll just show you guys a bit more. The idea is you sort of get these jobs from people. So in this first one here, somebody's asking you to embed a file in somebody else's device, and if you accept the job, you get a file. And this is just a sort of simple first job to try and teach the player a few things about how the game works. But if you read all that job text, it tells you that you have to find somebody called Marcus Chase, who happens to be this person here. You open their phone, and then you can drag a file in, embed it, and then you get to complete the job. Yeah, so there's a bunch of kind of line of sight puzzle stuff and kind of information deduction stuff I'd like to experiment with in this prototype. But for now, I've just been doing a little bit of everything to try and see what's interesting and what sticks. Yeah, so I'll show you more as I go. The one mechanic that I've put in, one of the major changes I've put in since last I streamed this, is that there's a limit to the number of devices you can jump to. So you can jump to this camera, you could jump to there. You can kind of, I'm just trying to think of a good example here. You can see, like here, I only have one jump left. So if there were another camera here, I could jump to it, but not to one more. So yeah, the idea is you have a limited number of jumps you can do around an area, and you have to kind of choose carefully how you move around a level. Yeah, J Booty. Yeah, so another mechanic I've recently put in is the ability to press a key to take a photo, which you then get in your little storage inventory here. This is just this storage thing can have files that you steal from people or like photos you've taken, kind of thing, and you can drag these out and drop them just like we did with that other file. So I can conceivably drop this image into this person's phone. I'm not sure why I'd want to, but there it is. Now that image is on her phone. So there are a lot of implications to that kind of thing that I'd like to explore. But yeah, there are also these circuit boxes which I can open up like this, and they give you a kind of schematic view of what they're connected to. So this one connects to the two cameras on a pole here, and then to a street light over here. So I can click these to toggle things on and off. I can click that to jump to that camera. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, there's just these data banks and things which aren't populated at the moment. But yeah, the idea is to kind of right now I'm kind of just building a bunch of systems with a few loose puzzles and kind of working from there. So another kind of, this job is kind of a bit more of an example of a puzzle that you'd get in a game. So this job tells you to find somebody called Celine Clark and find an email mentioning hyperdrive. So if I accept that job, I kind of have to find. So if I read about this, I can see that that she's a vital engineer at Torrentco, and I can see that this is a Torrentco building. So hopefully my exploration kind of takes me over here, and I realize that this camera is moving, so I can go up to there, and then there's this open window here which has a circuit box. So I can take that circuit box and open up a little window shade here, and here's Celine Clark. So I can open her computer and steal her hyperdrive email here, which is, yeah, the kind of thing I'd like to have a lot of in this game. I can also jump here and see that there's a phone, but because I've used all my signals, all my hops, my signal strength here, I can't get to that. But if I go to the circuit box and open up this window on the side, I can now jump back to an earlier camera and see through and get to the phone, and steal more stuff, steal more information. Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at in terms of puzzles at the moment. I'd like to add more, and I'd like to kind of encourage more exploration from the player. So yeah, so what I want to do today is just have just kind of have a new job it's kind of almost just like a passive side quest, where you have bits of graffiti around the city, and the goal is to take photos, to find the graffiti and take a photo of each piece of graffiti and upload it to the chat over here. I'm not really too concerned about why you're taking photos of graffiti right now, but I'm trying to see if I can push the idea of exploring space and encouraging the player to look at new places. You know, with these moving cameras here, if you jump to this one, for example, I want the player to be incentivized to look around and to see if they can find stuff. So that's what I want to explore today. Is just plonk a bunch of graffiti around the city, let the player photograph it, as you do with that key there. Yeah, and then maybe have a job that you can drag it onto to earn money for each piece of graffiti taken or something. Just checking the chat quickly. Paul Roy says, Circuit City, is it based on the now defunct American electronics retail store? Kind of, actually, yeah. It's good. I'm trying to go for a kind of retro punk feel here a little bit. So, like, yeah, the more lo-fi and 90s dial up we can go for, the better. Paul Rose says, someone who's never played Watch Dogs games. This looks very similar to Watch Dogs. Yeah, I haven't played a Watch Dogs game either. I think I said the same thing last time, and I'm not actually sure if I should at this point, because I feel like it might kind of tarnish the experience. I might get too many ideas of things to do, or like, I don't know. I'm kind of, for now, I'm kind of keeping this in a vacuum a little bit, but I don't know. Maybe I should probably watch somebody play a Watch Dogs game or something like that. Yeah. So okay. So what I'm going to start doing now is I'm going to play some graffiti around the level. With the photographing thing I recently added this concept of a photographable item, an item that can be photographed. This is a little document that at some stage you'll get a job that says take a photo of this document, and let me actually just show you in game rather. The mechanics I've implemented are that you can sort of jump into this camera and see the document in the wall there. But if you try and take a photo of it and send it to the person who wants it, they'll tell you that it's too dark. So the mechanic I've implemented is that things actually get registered if you light up. So if you light up the room here using that circuit box, you can now take a photo of that document, and when you upload that'll actually register as a job complete. So I want to use a similar thing where I'm putting graffiti around. Some graffiti you'll have to light up so you can get a clear shot of it, and others you'll just have to move a camera around to be able to spot it. Yeah, Paul Rose says this is like Pokemon Snap for hackers. I like it. Yeah, pretty much. I just need AR. Cool. Okay, so yeah, I've also put like a bunch of arbitrary circuit boxes in this city just because I really enjoy the idea of just having stuff for now that you can randomly toggle on and off. I just think it's quite fun. So there's a circuit box sitting above this building here, and you can turn off the spotlights on the building. Yeah, this has very much been a case of kind of building this thing with little systems in place just for fun, and then trying to figure something out from it. So, but yeah, I do have a couple of ideas now I'd like to work on in terms of player progression and stuff. Okay, so I'm going to start by just grabbing one graffiti I'll just bring this over here. Yeah, so I just googled some graffiti. This also feels like the kind of graffiti that definitely wouldn't be in this game, but let's just take one of these. Low res as it is. Oh god. Okay, let's go transparent background. Okay, let's take this piece of graffiti here. Image new tab. Actually, no. Okay, that looks a little promising. Let's bring this into Photoshop and just check. Okay, so here's a little piece of graffiti that I can use. So that sounds good. I'm just going to call this graffiti. Assets art. Yeah. So let me just pop this in here. Okay. Cool. So just bring back the chat. Okay. So I have this graffiti. What I'm going to do is make a graffiti element that I can just a prefab that I can just plaster around the city. It's actually going to be pretty similar to this paper document. So I'll actually just duplicate this prefab now, because a paper document is something that can be photographed, as we can see here. Let's graffiti. Okay. Okay, let me just edit this prefab. Okay, so what I want is to create a material for the graffiti. Let's see. Okay, so here we have a piece of graffiti. Just want to make sure it's sized properly to 400 by 235. 4 by 2.35. Oops. This is my little hack for getting aspect ratios right. Okay, I actually just want to see this in the scene so I get an idea of how big it's going to be. Okay. Okay, I think the first place I'd like to put one is in here. So let's So this collider is just to determine if you can see the graffiti itself. Actually, make it a bit smaller. It does a raycast from the camera once it's determined to be visible. So I just want to make sure that's good. Should be okay. Okay. Okay, so I'm using scriptable objects here to sort of mark something as being a quest item, as it were. So yeah, these are just better ways than, say, using like a string to reference to reference the name of something in the scene. I'd rather have an asset that I can actually point to, use to point that scene. Paul Roy says, is that royalty-free graffiti? Almost definitely not, no. No, probably not, but it definitely won't stay if it ever stays in the game, so it's also not particularly nice, but well, it's not fitting for the game world necessarily, but yeah. Okay. So just use, this is basically just an empty object that's used as a reference here. So I can do that. See now. Yeah, so I guess what I want to do is use these cameras that I have now just to like explore the level and see if I can find spaces that I kind of haven't looked at before, and, or just spaces that might be compelling to have some graffiti. So I quite like this kind of thing. It's kind of dark. Could add a little bit of light to it, a little bit of emission just to bolster it, but I think it's fine being quite dark. So I'm going to plaster it up and move it slightly. Yeah, so the idea here is that at some point you get a job to photograph as much graffiti as you can find, and then you kind of do this kind of thing, hit E, take a photo, and then grab the photo and drag it onto the particular job that you'd be trying to complete, find the graffiti for. In the future, we'll have soda-powered animated GIF graffiti. sounds pretty good. Okay. So let me make a few of these. Oops. Okay. So I'm going to just look around and see if I can find more places for the graffiti. It's a kind of cool little alcove in here. It's also really dark, so I'd want the player to find a way to light this area up to be able to see it. If not, let me just put it in the lit area of that. Suppose I can actually check it properly. Oh, this graffiti is static, so it bakes with the light maps. Okay. It's pretty dark, but I think that's kind of cool. Still, let me find a few more places. Actually kind of have one up here too, but I'll leave that for now. Maybe a piece up here would be cool. Let's see if I can find a few more. Plenty of places I can actually see if I move around here. Okay, I'm going to put one up there. so I can see what I'm doing. I like that it's actually like really dark in most of these places, because it kind of forces you to look out quite clearly. Just look carefully, I guess. So Pilro asks, is there a fail state, or is it just resetting from being ineffective with the camera moves? There's not really a fail state to the game at the moment. I'm not working too much on that. The only thing I can think of really for now is that if you sort of hack and do things like close to people, there's maybe a suspicion rating that goes up, or something to that effect. That then, so you only have so many moves you can do while somebody's watching. But I'm not really focusing on a fail state right now. I just want the player to be able to do interesting stuff. Mysterious is time limit probably. Yeah, maybe. The time limit thing is problematic for a few reasons. One, if there's some of the content of this game will involve like reading and deducing, looking at people's emails and things, and as you do in a kind of information game, and deducing things and reevaluating your expectations. And I never really like limiting people's reading speed. You could pause, but I mean, I think it's just, I'd like the player to be able to sit and kind of really think about a particular character or piece of information that they've found. So I would probably, it'd be fun to kind of add some time limits in terms of small jobs that you take on. So once you accept a job, you have a certain time to do something, or catch someone on catch a photo of someone or something. And then if you fail that, it would be nice to somehow reset that so you can just perform the job again or something like that. I don't want to kind of want people to feel like they've missed some content because of a time limit. So yeah, dyslexic speedrunners will be intimidated. Okay, I'm just going to look for more areas for graffiti. I mean, taking photos of graffiti around the city isn't exactly the most exciting thing, but it's more just about putting a little puzzle or job in here that lets you explore the city more and just find interesting things out. So obviously a subway is like rife for graffiti, given the okay, so maybe something against one of these. I think a piece of graffiti in this tunnel here would actually be pretty awesome. Let me grab one of these. Okay. Okay, let's see. It's a bit weird, but let's just try pop this down here and see what we get. Quite cool if it's like sort of covered in shadow. The best way to do this would probably be actually just using decals, so you can place textures and things on curved surfaces instead of using a quad like I'm doing. But obviously for now I'm just testing this idea, so it's not that big a deal if it doesn't look great. Okay. Another actually awesome thing here would be to put some graffiti on a hidden door here. So you, in this particular area, so from there, if I jump to this camera, I can get a camera here, see inside the subway, but I also have a circuit box that's kind of hidden here. And if I get that, I can close that door, which actually traps this person inside, which is great. Yeah, so I can close this door, and then if I jump here, it would be cool to have a piece of graffiti there. So there's a little bit of kind of extra puzzling involved there, where you have to experiment with the devices in the level and try a bunch of different things to reveal other things, which I think is pretty cool. You could also conceivably take it from here, so you could like get to the circuit box, close the door, and then zoom. Not quite. Zoom in and take it there, but yeah. So let me. Take this piece of graffiti. So I'm going to parent this to that door that's there. I have to resize it a bit too. So see, we want something like that. That's cool. Yeah, so there's this prefab here, but I'm obviously not going to apply that or anything. I'm just going to drag this into the subway gate, zero it out so it's aligned properly with it. So it's minus 90. Zero this out. Actually, going to make this a little bigger. Just scale up the whole object here. I'm going to put it down here so the player can see just the tip of the. Actually, no, they won't be able to. But I like the idea that they can see a little bit if they, when the door's still open. So let's see. Oh god, okay, that didn't work at all. Let's try and just parent it to that. Okay. We can mark this static. Is it? Yes. Let's mark this static. So let's turn that off. See if this works. Okay. So now if we close the door, we can jump to this camera and see the graffiti there. Take a photo of it. Yeah. Well, what that was. Okay. There's also this little hidden camera up here, which takes us to this alleyway. A circuit box over here. So maybe something around here would be cool. Something over there in the darkness would be pretty awesome. This is a document that I was showing you guys earlier. Yeah, Paul Rose says, can you hack into the cameras of pedestrians like sightjacking? Yeah, at the moment you actually can. You can't control from them. I probably should have showed you that. But yeah, so if I hack into this guy's phone, I can click this little camera button. I get a little camera view of him here. But ideally, I'd like you to be able to reach other cameras from that. But I haven't implemented that yet. But I can also, if I can find somebody patrolling around, I can also jump into this person's phone and get a little camera view here, which would sort of follow them around, and you'd lose sight of it if they walked out of your frame. So you'd have to keep them in frame. So I could conceivably get to that little camera there in the corner. Yeah, so that's definitely something I like. It's a bit awkward having a camera from like a sort of selfie camera from someone's pocket. It's quite fun, but I'd almost rather just have a kind of HoloLens situation going on where you get a first-person view of somebody, even though that doesn't necessarily make that much sense. I think it would be a nice way to see, you're seeing directly what the person's seeing, and yeah. Cool. Yeah. So yeah, definitely this camera definitely needs to like be something that you can use to jump to others and take photos of. So at the moment I can take a photo, but it doesn't include that camera. But I'd want to be able to like snap a photo from this person's camera. Let me actually just maximize this. Yeah. So now you sort of get into places that you can't actually see normally, which is pretty awesome. I probably will ultimately opt for a world where people don't have smartphones but have some kind of HoloLens thing or head cameras for some weird reason. But maybe, I don't know, implants or something that they can see directly from a first-person view, just because I think that's a little more direct. It's weird to look at somebody patrolling and try and figure out what you can see based on, in this case, the back of them, because the camera's pointing outwards. So I'd like a player to be able to look at somebody and, you know, know that when I'm looking through this person's eyes, I'm seeing this data bank here, or I'm seeing up the screen to the right that I haven't been able to see before. So yeah, cool. Okay. Matty Game Review and Spooky Guy both say hi and hello, Jim. Hi guys. Cool. Okay. So I'm just going to place a few more of these graffiti things. Have one with a really cool place here somewhere. Always a pain in the ass to try and position things in 3D space, isn't it? I just want to see where this light is. If I turn that on, I can just get an idea. These particular lights are off by default. Not actually sure why, but okay, that's kind of cool. Only just visible, and only if you turn this light on, which is great. Okay, it's kind of visible anyway, but okay. Let's find a few more places. Nice to have a couple of really obvious graffiti places. In-game QR codes. Are they in-game QR codes? Asked Paulroy. No, they aren't, but that's quite interesting. You have to sort of like get a link, scan in a QR code and get some kind of link or piece of information. That's pretty cool. So there's one there. There's one up here now too, isn't there? Yeah, there we go. That's cool. That's great. Yeah, I kind of want a better way as well to be able to view like photos and files and things. This UI is obviously placeholder, but it's kind of, I don't know if I really like the layout I've gone for here. I kind of want to do something a bit different, but it's kind of alright for now. Okay, maybe something here, over here in the light, something really obvious. Draw your attention to the job, I suppose. Let's get that. Okay. There's a piece of graffiti there. Let's clip it a little bit. Probably just one more piece of graffiti would be kind of cool. I'll do this one here. Let's find a good place. In between one of these, maybe. I'm trying to find places I can't really too easily, which is kind of cool. I think once I get these cameras going properly, being able to take photos from them, I'll find some graffiti around here. Like, that's really cool there. Okay. Just gonna put one more through here. Yeah, here we go, kind of works. It's not dark, but maybe just for fun, I'll do sort of one of these here. Allow the player to light up this area. Put a couple of spotlights that you have to turn on to see that piece of graffiti. Oops. Perhaps some sort of, ooh, it's kind of cool, very spooky. This doesn't really make any sense, but it's kind of fun anyway. To place a couple of these that you can turn on and off. So building a kind of pedestal for these things to sit on. I'll find a place to hide a circuit box that turns these lights on and off. So that could be kind of cool. I have to go in here to find the circuit box. Okay, so the way this thing works, so I've just got a little simple kind of circuit layout thing that I've made here that allows you to use just some characters to point to kind of draw out how the circuits are going to be displayed in that circuit dialog. So I'll show you now as I draw it out. So this is super rudimentary, but basically the star denotes where the little power box icon appears, and then I just use numbers here to draw out the various linked devices here. So I'll show you guys what that means. So if I open the circuit box now, I get this little schematic that I've made here that corresponds to these three lights. I can turn them on and off. And you can see that it's sort of, yeah, this little notation draws out the paths of the circuit dialog that you bring up. There we go, so I turn those spotlights on and I can now take a photo of that graffiti. Cool. just gonna cut that in the meantime. So for now I'm actually just going to do a little bit more layout of the city, just because it's a bit more visual and a bit more interesting to watch, I guess. Yeah, so yeah, just going to get on with that. Trying to close this level off a little bit because the player needs to have a finite amount of space that they can sort of see with their cameras. So create a few kind of simple walls around here for now. just doing very rough level blocking right now. I'm not really too concerned about how this thing looks. I just want to use this as a way to find interesting new places for cameras to be and potential new secret areas in the level. And I'm sure this is going to work. Let's do it again. Super rough, but let's just do that. Beautiful. Let's get rid of that. That's very good. Kind of cool to be surrounded by a city. these windows. Get rid of these. Just Okay, I think I'm going to leave it there for now, but thanks for watching. Yeah, until next time. Thanks.